Hey there, welcome to the Her Business Podcast, where we are all about you growing your business by your rules, not anyone else's. I'm your host. I'm Suzi Dafnis. I'm the CEO at Her Business, and I'm really excited about today's topic. Now, this episode is what we call an Ask Suzi episode of the podcast. And in these episodes, we answer listener questions. Now, I was having a conversation with a woman business owner just recently, and let me tell you, she was a successful business owner. She had done the things, she hit the targets, she banked the money, but she didn't feel successful, not in her bones. And she asked me, Suzi, what number do I need to hit to finally feel free? And the crazy thing is, she was actually already financially free. If she really wanted to stop working tomorrow, she could. But here's the thing, more money doesn't equal more freedom. So today we're talking about what does freedom really look like and how do we get there? And I want to start with the truth that I see with women in business all the freaking time, no matter what level of success they're at. We build, we grow, we hit those targets, we succeed at our projects, we get our goals. And then before we even take a beat to pause or to give ourselves a pat on the back, we set another target. We build more, we grow more, we hit new targets, we set more goals, and this cycle goes on and on and on. And I myself have been trapped in that cycle many, many times over the last 30 years. It's almost kind of built into our DNA as business owners. And first thing is we want to confront the fact that there is no magic threshold. I do not have a perfect answer to her question, but I have a few things to say. We tend to live our lives as though there's a magic finish line, that there's a marker that once we pass it, we get to feel the feeling of freedom. And sometimes we think that's a revenue number, a level of security, things that we have around us, a version of success and life where everything is going to feel easier once we get there. What we're going to be able to afford to do with our time, what we're going to be able to afford to spend on our holidays. We say things like, once I get there, wherever it is, I will stop worrying. Once I hit that number, I will slow down. My nervous system will finally relax. Once the business is successful enough in that way and the other way, I'll finally feel free. And that belief is what keeps us moving, keeps us pushing, which is often useful, yes. But it also means you're always chasing something that's just that little bit out of reach or the lot out of reach. And for me, I realized it gradually. And then it hit me all at once. My business was doing great. Revenue was up, and I had more opportunities than I ever imagined I would have in my life. So much choice. But no matter what, I felt this ball of anxiety deep in my chest, deep in my gut too. This sense of urgency, always urgency. I was still waking up thinking about the business and worrying about the business more than thinking. I was still carrying the mental load, still feeling responsible for everyone and everything, even things way beyond my control, saying yes too often, believing that if I just worked a little harder now, that I'd finally be able to relax eventually. And that urgency was inside my body all the time. I could lie down at the end of the day and feel it there, humming within me, my whole body vibrating, thinking, there's still more that you can do, Suzi. You didn't quite get as far as you wanted to today, this week, this month. There's still another marker to hit. There's still another goalpost to reach. And beyond that goalpost lies your much-deserved dreamland of rest and relaxation and palm trees and freedom. But we never actually get there, do we? That sense of urgency and need to do just keeps us running the race, dreaming about a finish line that actually may not even exist. And I remember having this realization one night thinking, on the outside, my life has changed dramatically over the years, but the internal experience of how my life feels, how secure I feel, it hasn't really changed. And that was really confronting. This hypervigilance had not gone away even though my bank account looked really healthy. Because for years I'd attached freedom to a number, a revenue target, a level of success, and I thought by getting there, the pressure to work hard would disappear and that life would suddenly feel spacious and calm. But it never did, no matter how successful I became, because achievement alone doesn't automatically change your internal world, does it? We know that. You can reach the goal and still carry the same pressure. You operate within the same patterns, you hold the same fears, you feel the same need to prove yourself, the inability to switch off. The pace of our lives is often driven less by circumstances and more by identity, by how we identify with what is happening in our lives and how we identify with ourselves. And freedom really only comes when we address why we inside feel so uncomfortable slowing down, why we feel responsible for everything, why we keep moving the definition of what enough is further and further away from ourselves. This concept actually has a name. It's called the arrival fallacy in psychology, and most of us are guilty of it. It's this I'll be happy when syndrome. It's this false, deeply ingrained belief that reaching a specific, long sought after goal, such as a financial target, or it could be a promotion or a marriage, it's going to bring us lasting happiness or fulfillment. So if we can identify that belief as actually a myth, that is step one in the right direction. Then I want to look at this idea of identity. Identity is one of the most overlooked factors in business. That's why at Her Business we are spending so much time with women business owners who are growing businesses to look at their identity, because who we are when we start our business is not who we are 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, 20 years later. Because the stories we tell about who we are become the rules we live by and the rules with which we run our businesses. And many of the identity statements that women carry, they're really great when we first start. I'm a hard worker. We take pride in that, right? I have personally had a conversation with the universe this year to make it very clear that I have learnt the lesson of hard work and I'm not here for it anymore. I said, thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to do things differently now. I got that lesson. I don't need to keep learning it. Another identity statement is, I can overcome any challenge that comes my way. Right, that's our capability. We're such problem solvers. Another is, I am always available for those who need me, my customers, my team. And that shows our dedication and our generosity. Or I know how to push through and get stuff done. Or I hold everything together. I'm the glue in my organization. That feeling of being needed, of being a vital part of what's happening. These are identities we learn to take on because, let's be honest, they're needed when we're building a business. We need to hold things together. We need to get done. We need to be available for our customers and our team. We need to overcome challenges that come our way. We need to work hard. Letting go of these identities is not easy. You know that, I know that, any woman in business knows that. These are things that helped us survive really difficult seasons. They help build the business. They created momentum and resilience and success. The problem is this, that we rarely stop to now ask, does this identity still serve the life and business I'm trying to create right now? Because eventually circumstances change. Maybe you're no longer struggling financially, or you don't have to prove that you're credible. You've got lots of runs on the board. You're no longer in survival mode. You can take it down a notch. But the survival mode instinct, that feeling of not being safe, sticks to us like glue. So even when life no longer requires that urgency, effort, relentless dedication, hypervigilance, you can continue operating as if it does. And that's where the trap closes on you. Where I'm a hard worker can become, I cannot rest. Where I'm always there for my business can become, I have no boundaries. Where the I strive for more can become, nothing is ever enough. Where I can handle everything becomes, I don't trust anyone to help me. These identities are unfortunately socially rewarded, which makes them more impossible to question. People admire the woman who's always available for her team and her clients, who never drops the ball, who keeps achieving, who holds everything together and does it with a smile on her face. But internally, those same women, these are women I see every day who come to me for support and mentoring and camaraderie, they're exhausted. And there's another layer to this that I think is worth naming right now. For many high-achieving women, the hustle isn't really about money at all. It's about proving something to themselves, to others, to some invisible standard they've been measuring themselves against for most of their careers. So sometimes lives before careers as well. For many women, hard work became the strategy that earned security, approval, or validation long before we even started our businesses. And there can be a fear, a real gut level fear of, if I stop working so hard, is everything going to fall apart? And by everything, I mean everything. Now, maybe you were always praised for being the responsible one. Maybe you learned to overperform to be taken seriously. Maybe productivity became really tied to your identity. Look how many things I can check off my list. That's one of mine. So the business grows often fast, but the internal pattern, it stays the same. And that's why women can feel financially successful and still feel unable to stop pushing, still feeling unable, and I really want you to hear this, to let themselves receive joy, time, space, ease. Because at that point, the work isn't about the money. It's about holding on to the person that you are. Now, if we want to agree that this finish line is a myth and that our identity right now has us trapped, what keeps it locked in so tightly? Why is it that some women live with all of their lives these stuck points, never able to dislodge them? I think there are two things, and one I kind of hinted to. Social reward is one, and guilt. As I said, the world rewards hardworking people. It praises resilience, celebrates productivity. They call you inspiring when you sacrifice yourself for success. Wow, look at all she did to get there. And there's little external incentive to question that until you hit a point when you realize, I've built a successful business, but I don't actually know how to stop. Or I've created freedom financially, but emotionally, I still feel trapped by pressure. So that's one thing. And then there's guilt, which is everywhere, and it's not named enough. I see women build incredibly successful businesses and still feel guilty making things easier for themselves, even though now they can, because they have the money, they have the capacity to do it differently. I had a mentoree share something with me just recently that had me go, wow. She told me that she spends 3 hours every weekend cleaning her office space herself. She can absolutely afford help, and she doesn't enjoy doing it at all. And I asked her, why don't you hire a cleaner? And she said, well, that would make me feel like I'm being a princess. And doesn't that say everything? I know, having grown up in a Greek household, that would very much be a thing. It's like, if you can do it yourself, why are you going to get someone else to do it? And so many women have deeply internalized the idea that they have to earn rest and ease and support through hard work and don't want to be seen sort of skating through, having a good time when other people are working hard. We deny our success. We minimize it so that we don't stand out too much. That's a very Australian thing as well, by the way. So even when they've created success, financial success, they keep overworking and overgiving and overfunctioning, not because they have to, but because guilt tells them they should. And I know this story. PJ and I were very fortunate to work really, really hard through our 20s and 30s and have great financial success by the time we were 40. So that guilt, though, that didn't stop us from busting our butts, especially me. PJ is a lot better at relaxing than I am. And I think that guilt is worth examining, really examining, because whose voice is it? And is it actually even true? Now, I know this is kind of a lot to process, and maybe you're listening and you're thinking, Suzi, I didn't realize I was going to get a psychology lesson on the podcast this week. But these are exactly the kinds of conversations we need to have together as business owners, and the kinds of conversations to challenge yourself with, because we want freedom. I have no doubt that you got into business because you wanted some sort of freedom, creative freedom, money freedom, time freedom, location freedom, space to think, whatever it was for you. And freedom does not start and end with the amount of money we have. What has to change is our relationships with ourselves. I want you to be so in love with who you are becoming that you are willing to let go of the old to allow in the new, even if it feels a little bit uncomfortable. And let's be honest, money gives you options, absolutely, but it will not automatically change your patterns or your beliefs or your identity. And actually, I was talking to a couple of personal friends, really good friends. Both have successful businesses. And we all agreed on something, that success no longer looks like a number at the end of the financial year. It no longer looks like the team size or what we can buy with the money we make. Success looks like time, lifestyle, having genuine control over how we spend our days. And that's very different from what success meant when we started out as business owners. And real freedom comes when you no longer feel that you have to constantly prove yourself through effort. When you can say no without feeling guilty. Like the mentoree of mine, saying no to coming in on weekends and cleaning the office and not feeling guilty about it, not feeling like she's going to be seen as a princess because she hired someone to clean, someone who would really love to clean her office. When you can rest without that ball of anxiety and urgency humming away in your body. When you can delegate without feeling like you're losing control or feeling apologetic because you're giving someone else work that you would normally do. When you're actually able to enjoy this thing that you've built right now, today, in this moment, instead of endlessly chasing the next thing, looking for the next finish line. And I think fulfillment comes when your life no longer reflects what you're capable of achieving. We know you're capable of achieving, but also what you truly value right now. And part of that growth is being willing to let your identity evolve, to realize that you can still be ambitious without it being all-consuming, without business being all-consuming. You can still dare deeply without carrying everything yourself. You can still be successful without constantly proving yourself through, as I said, effort. And sometimes the bravest thing a woman can do is release the version of herself that got her here so that she can become the version that allows her to actually enjoy the life she's built. And that is the freaking work that I love doing most with women. So before we wrap up, I want to invite you to sit with 3 questions this week. The first one is, what identity statements are you currently wearing as a badge of honor, and do they honestly still serve you now? Number 2, where are you still operating as though you're in survival mode, even though your circumstances have changed? And number 3, what would you do differently if you genuinely looked around and realized the finish line isn't something down the road at the next achievement, next launch, next milestone, but it's right where you are now? Those questions may not give you instant answers, but they're going to start a thought process. I'm going to put those 3 questions over on our show notes page, and I'll tell you in a moment, where to find those. So, financial freedom, emotional freedom, not the same thing. And if your identity is built around being the hard worker, the achiever, the responsible one, you can hit every financial goal and still feel unfulfilled, because the habits that create success can become the very things that keep you trapped inside it. The version of you that built this business was extraordinary. She deserves her flowers. And she also deserves to be released so that this new version of you can enjoy what she has built for you over all these years. That is what Your Business, Your Rules, the tagline for this show, the tagline for my organization, ultimately means. I said at the top of this episode, this was an Ask Suzi episode. And so, I want to thank the woman who asked that question. What is the number I need? And I hope that in answering her question, I've also helped you, if that wasn't your question. Each of these mini episodes is going to help you get leverage in your business. Whether it's sales and marketing that you want to know about, systems or finances or team, other bits and pieces. If this episode resonated with you, I would love to hear that. You can send me a message over on Instagram. You'll find us at Her Business, or you can review this episode wherever you are listening to your podcast. And if there's a woman in your life who might need to hear this today, send this episode her way. I know I have a couple of people in mind that I'll be sharing it with. And you can direct message me your question, which I will answer here on the show, over on Instagram at Her Business. Just share your biggest challenge, frustration, something you'd like me to answer. I will do it anonymously. I will credit you if you would like that. Anything that's kind of running circles around you, trying to figure it out by yourself, then let me know. I cannot wait to get into your specific challenges and help your business along the way. Over on our website at herbusiness.com/365, you're going to find a summary of today's episode and links to any resources that I've mentioned. And if you're new to the show, welcome. Subscribe, hit follow wherever you are listening, and join us for the next episode. We have lots of inspiring stories, lessons from successful female entrepreneurs coming up. We're publishing a new episode every week, so be sure to grab that. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next time right here on the Her Business Podcast. Bye for now.